Hey there, statisticians. So today what we're going to talk about is scatter diagrams. By the way, the guy up here, Rene Descartes, you may want to look him up. Fascinating guy, one of the true Renaissance man of his time, philosopher, mathematician. He's also, I want to say, the guy who said, I think, therefore I am. And he is the reason why we call our graphs the Cartesian plane. So when it is not in our power to determine what is true, we ought to follow what is most probable. So if I don't know something is true, I'm going to follow what is most likely true. I think that's very fascinating. Sorry, so in our notes, let's go ahead and go. So let's talk about a scatter diagram. What is this? This is a graph where we have x and y's are our points. We're taking that Cartesian plane. That's why Rene Descartes was on our opening scene. We're going to call the horizontal x, which is what we're going to call them explanatory variables, and the vertical is y, which is our response variables. We also know them as independent and dependent variables. So if I give you, here's my x-axis and my y-axis. My x-axis is my explanatory or independent variables. You've heard the term independent variables before. And y is going to be my response or my dependent variables. So the explanatory variables do whatever they are. And that makes my y value change. My x value will be whatever it is, and then the y value will respond in kind. Like, so the y value is going to change because of my x variable. So the response variable actually responds, see, get it? Responds to the changes in the explanatory variable. So we're going to think of the explanatory as my independent and my response is my dependent. It does what the x value tells it. So if we're looking at this, you and a group of friends are going to homecoming and need to know how much you will be charged for tickets. So what two quantities are in this system? Remember, what I want you to identify which is which variable. So the number of people going to homecoming, that's going to change, and the amount of money spent on tickets is going to change. Which one of these is explanatory? Which one is response? Which one is independent? Which one is dependent? So which one of these can be whatever it is? The amount of people is going to be my independent. So the quantity that forces the other quantity to change is my independent. That's the amount of people. You don't get to decide how much to spend on homecoming. Think about that. I don't decide how much I'm going to spend. I decide on what I'm spending it on. So the number of people that I take to homecoming, that's what I control. That is the independent variable, which means the cost of homecoming is the explanatory or the dependent variable. So, boom, boom. There we go. So the number of people is my explanatory variable. The amount of money I spend is my response variable. This should not be the number of guests. This should be the amount spent. Let me change that. The amount spent. I don't get to control how much I spend. I get to control how many people go to homecoming with me. That's what I control. And then the cost is whatever the cost is. It responds. Alrighty. So please come in tomorrow with any questions that you might have. So I can answer those. We will do math work in class tomorrow, and I look forward to seeing you, statisticians. Have a great and wonderful evening, and I will see you tomorrow.